This girl's name is Oh Jin-na, a famous hot girl at Huajiang High School. Jin-na is accompanied by her friend Song Hana and rich lady Yo Min-ji. All three are considered the most influential people at Huajiang High School, and they are the fragrant flowers that many people want to win, including the male lead Lee Sung-min. Sung-min is a typical shy guy but has feelings for the hot girl Oh Jin-na. Sung-min just walked out of the classroom and bumped into the goddess Jin-na holding hands with someone else. Sung-min could only avoid to the side and watch the goddess leave without saying a word. Oh Jin-na and the male student went to a hidden corner to talk. The two argued for a while and Oh Jin-na wanted to break up. The male student refused and forced Oh Jin-na to tell him the reason before he would let go. She said that she had a new lover. Because Jin-na starts something so she have to follow through. So Oh Jin-na agreed to introduce her new boyfriend to the male student tomorrow. After the male student left, Oh Jin-na had a headache and asked her friends to help her find Sung-min. After a while of struggling to find him, Oh Jin-na finally met Sung-min, standing in front of the goddess of his life. Sung-min couldn't help but swallow his saliva continuously to reduce his tension. This was the first time he met the goddess alone, but this meeting was very strange. Before Sung-min could prepare himself, he was knocked out by Oh Jin-na's words. Oh Jin-na asked Sung-min to become her boyfriend. Before Oh Jin-na's confess, Sung-min was surprised and couldn't believe his ears. Sung-min asked Oh Jin-na why she wanted to date him when she didn't know who he was. Oh Jin-na replied indifferently and told Sung-min to consider this a love contract. They were temporary lovers. After she dealt with the male student, they would break up. After Sung-min heard this, she rejected Oh Jin-na's proposal. Oh Jin-na told this to her group of sisters with a puzzled face. This was the first time she had been rejected by a male student. It was unacceptable. On this side, Sung-min's best friend Ba Yui was also surprised to hear that his friend had rejected the goddess. It was truly unbelievable. While the two were talking, they bumped into Oh Jin-na's ex-lover who was holding a baseball bat. That guy walked up to Sung-min, smiled, then turned and left. The day of the appointment came. Oh Jin-na barged into Sung-min's classroom and pulled his hand away. Oh Jin-na insisted on signing a love contract with Sung-min, but he refused even though it was true that he liked her. Oh Jin-na finally told him the reason why she wanted Sung-min to be her boyfriend. Sung-min was a little changed in his mind after hearing the story. The two sat down to negotiate the love contract along with the conditions. The conditions were agreed upon but Sung-min was still hesitant. At this moment, Oh Jin-na received a phone call from her ex-lover so she left. She gave Sung-min 10 minutes to think about it and sign it. If he agreed, he would go to the meeting place after 10 minutes as Oh Jin-na's boyfriend. Oh Jin-na went downstairs first without taking Sung-min with her, so Hyung-tak mocked her. At the moment when it seemed like a failure, Sung-min appeared like a god, hugging Oh Jin-na's shoulder and asserting his sovereignty. Before Sung-min's appearance, the male student could only bitterly watch the two people's departing backs. Jin-na's close friends couldn't help but laugh at that male student. The next day, in order to please Oh Jin-na, Sung-min especially begged his father to teach him how to flirt girl. The theory had been learned. Now it was time to practice. When he heard Oh Jin-na say he wanted kimchi dumplings, Sung-min immediately ran to buy them for her. Although this method was a bit old, it was still considered successful. Receiving Oh Jin-na's smile, Sung-min couldn't help but get excited like a child being given candy. After class, Sung-min obediently sat and waited for Oh Jin-na to finish school. He wanted to take her home but she refused. Sung-min immediately remembered his father's teachings. The first of the 36 strategies was acting pitiful. Oh Jin-na turned around, but not because of Sung-min's pitiful face, but because of Hyung-tak in front. The two of them linked arms and passed Hyung-tak, making him extremely angry. Hyung-tak was a suspicious person, so he wouldn't let Oh Jin-na off easily. So they need to understand each other better. The two went to the cafe to learn about each other's interests to understand each other. The two seemed to be quite compatible in terms of food. After understanding each other a little more, Oh Jin-na went to the gym and Sung-min would wait for her downstairs. He wanted to take her home as stipulated in the contract. The two went home together. Because the traffic light was broken, Oh Jin-na almost got into an accident. Luckily, Sung-min behind her pulled her back in time. Oh Jin-na shyly cleared her throat to clear the atmosphere. Before leaving, Oh Jin asked for Sung-min's phone number. Sung-min was very happy to be asked for his phone number by the goddess. Before leaving, he didn't forget to wish Jin-na good night. Then he shyly ran away. The next day, Oh Jin-na finally remembered that she had to take a picture with Sung-min to post on social media. Oh Jin-na immediately called Sung-min over, but she didn't expect Sung-min to bring his best friend. Baoyui. With him, Gina's best friend Hannah seemed to dislike Baoyui's ridiculousness, so she left first. The date of 5 people now only had 4 people. Sungmin decided to take the group to eat his favorite food. Thought it would be a normal restaurant, but unexpectedly, the restaurant Sungmin took them to was an internet cafe. The first date took place in an internet cafe. Contrary to her goddess appearance when playing games, Gina revealed another side that made everyone surprised. She was not only good at singing and dancing but also a talented gamer, surprising Baoyui and Sungmin. After finishing a few matches, it was time to carry out the mission. Gina pulled Sungmin back. Click. A photo was taken. The two quickly changed their profile pictures according to the previous plan. As usual, Sungmin wanted to take Gina home, but this time she did not agree. She wanted to take him home. Before saying goodbye, Sungmin shyly took off his shirt and covered Gina, afraid that she would be cold when she got home. Gina looked at Sungmin with eyes that were blazing with fire. But after he left, she couldn't help but laugh. Sungmin's clumsiness was what scored points in Gina's eyes. The next morning, Gina hesitated, not knowing whether to let Sungmin come get the shirt himself or if she would return it to him. After a while of struggling with her mind, Gina chose to return the shirt to him. She ran to find Sungmin and saw him being bullied by Hyung-tak. Gina ran to stand in the middle. She warned Hyung-tak not to touch a single hair of her lover. Hyung-tak was still fearless and dared her to touch him. Gina's daredevil spirit roused. She grabbed Sungmin by the nape of his neck and placed a kiss on his lips. The whole group looked at each other in confusion, and so did Sungmin. The person involved. Hyung-tak's group left, leaving the two people standing there. After the previous aggressive scene, the two fell into an extremely awkward state. Sungmin hopefully asked if she liked him, so she kissed him. Right? Gina at this time was even unstable and said no. Sungmin then felt hurt and left. Gina stayed behind feeling that she was crazy. Sungmin avoided Gina the next day. No matter how his best friend tried to persuade him, he still refused to see her, saying he was busy with club work. Even though Gina didn't want to, she still had to go to Baoyui for advice. Baoyui couldn't give her good advice, but instead revealed Sungmin's secret that had been hidden for many years. Thanks to Baoyui, Gina successfully found out that she was a goddess in Sungmin's heart. Gina then went to Sungmin to confirm the truth. Sungmin didn't hide anything and honestly answered that he fell in love with her at first sight. Her energy made him feel so attracted that he liked her. Gina didn't know that she was so beautiful in Sungmin's eyes. She apologized to him about the kiss this morning. Sungmin softened when he heard that. If she wanted to apologize, then consider that kiss an apology. If there was a chance, they would try again. In Gina's mind, only Sungmin's words remained. Her heartbeat increased abnormally, causing the teacher to think she was sick and rush her to the emergency room. They had been dating for 22 days. To celebrate this important day, Sungmin ran to Gina early in the morning. He gave her a gift bag and told her to use it. It turned out to be a school bag. Sungmin wanted Gina to wear it because it was a pair with his school bag. Gina looked at Sungmin and said he was childish, but she couldn't help but smile. When Hyung-tak saw Gina so happy, he felt how inconsiderate he was to Gina. He was always busy and didn't remember the anniversary. Even though Gina said it was okay, it was only now that he realized he was wrong. Everyone then went together to study at the club founded by Baoyui. Seeing Sungmin and Hannah seeming close, Gina suddenly felt uncomfortable, as if something was stuck in her heart. Hannah then kept asking Gina about Sungmin. This made both Menji and Gina wonder, since when Hannah started caring about Sungmin so much. Sungmin was about to leave when he met Hannah. Hannah invited Sungmin to go ask for an idol's autograph with her. Coincidentally, that idol was also Sungmin's idol, so he agreed. When he got the autograph, Sungmin saw Gina sitting in a cafe with Hyung-tak. Hyung-tak simply wanted to meet Gina to apologize to her and make up for the gifts he had missed before. But that was what made Sungmin misunderstand. He left without saying a word. Gina quickly left Hyung-tak to run after Sungmin. Neither of them understood each other, so they argued. Sungmin didn't like Gina meeting Hyung-tak, and Gina also didn't understand why Sungmin was with her best friend. Gina then angrily left while Sungmin stayed behind, sitting sadly on the bench. At this time, Hyung-tak also came out. He looked around and didn't see Gina's figure, so he angrily asked why Sungmin let Gina go home alone. It turned out that Gina had often lost her belongings recently, and her closet had also been ransacked. The perpetrator also left behind many pictures and suspicious papers. Sungmin was also panicking and immediately took out his phone to call Gina, but no one answered. At this moment, Hyung-tak's phone rang. It was Gina's phone. Gina was currently encountering the pervert. He cornered her and forced her to date him. After receiving the phone call, Sungmin and Hyung-tak quickly ran to find Ji-na. Sung-min quickly found Ji-na. The pervert saw Sung-min and wanted to attack him. Ji-na saw that and quickly grabbed something next to him and hit the pervert on the head. The pervert quickly ran away but bumped into Hu Young-tak. At this time, Sung-min and Ji-na also ran over. The three of them took the pervert to the police station. After that, Sung-min felt extremely guilty for not being able to fulfill his duty as a boyfriend. Looking at Sung-min's face that looked like he was about to cry, Ji-na felt that he was extremely cute. Because he was cute, he would be forgiven. Sung-min promised himself that he would take her home every night regardless of whether she feel bother or not. When he got to the door, Sung-min panicked when he received an invitation to Ji-na's house. Sung-min took a deep breath and exhaled as he entered her house. This was the first time he had entered a goddess house. It felt very strange. The two of them had dinner together. To protect Ji-na, Sung-min volunteered to stay and watch over her while she slept. But in the end, he was the one who slept first. Ji-na woke up with a start. Suddenly feeling a heavy shoulder, turned around and saw Sung-min's head. Ji-na looked at Sung-min sleeping soundly and saw that he seemed handsome. Then felt ashamed of her thoughts. Ji-na wanted to wake Sung-min up but thought for a while and stopped. After that event, Sung-min and Hyung-tak suddenly changed from enemies to friends. He also joined Ba Yu-i's club. Their club decided to go out for a day to strengthen their friendship. They played a few games together. Hyung-tak turned from a male god into a black hole. He lost every game he played. After playing around, Sung-min took charge of cooking for the whole group. While Sung-min was cooking, Hana appeared and offered to cook with Sung-min. Hana suggested that Sung-min's soup was too spicy. He shouldn't add any more chili powder. But after Ji-na appeared, Hana's suggestion was no longer valid. They played the game of Whispers of Stone together. Each person would whisper into the hand of the person next to them the question and that person would reveal their answer. If the other person wanted to know what the other person was asked, they would have to be beaten. It was Ba Yu-i's turn to ask Ji-na. After a while of whispering, Ji-na answered that the person was Hyung-tak. Sung-min's curiosity was aroused. Regardless of being beaten, he wanted to know what Ba Yu-i had asked Ji-na. After being beaten, he realized that his endurance was meaningless. Ba Yu-i always asked questions that were worthless. Sung-min then had to endure a few more beatings for his curiosity, but the result was the same. In a flash, it was the last question. This time, Hyung-tak asked and Hana answered. Hyung-tak whispered something into Hana's hand and Hana pointed at Sung-min. Everyone cheered. Ji-na was really curious about what Hana had been asked that made her point at Sung-min. After a few beatings, Hyung-tak whispered into Ji-na's hand what he had asked. Ji-na couldn't sleep that night and kept thinking about it. She comforted herself that maybe Hana chose Sung-min because Hana couldn't choose anyone. Maybe that's why. At this moment, Sung-min threatened Ji-na from behind. He wanted to invite her to go for a walk with him to record some short videos as a souvenir. Ji-na sat singing while Sung-min sat watching her. This moment reminded Sung-min of the first time he met her, which was also the time she sang like this. At that time, he thought she was someone he couldn't reach. But this time it was different. He was sitting listening to her sing at a close distance. Not only that, but also as her boyfriend. The hot atmosphere was coming. The two pairs of lips were so close to each other. Thinking that they would touch each other, they were interrupted by the sound of a dog barking. The two of them shyly returned to their original positions. Hana saw the sweet scene between the two of them. She was so jealous that she ran to Hyung-tak and said that Ji-na's love for Sung-min was just a contract. Hyung-tak laughed when he saw that. The next morning, everyone distributed the leftover food together before leaving. Since no one said anything, Ji-na suggested that she take it all home. Hana saw that and took out all her anger from last night on Ji-na. Hana said that Ji-na was the one who always wanted to take everything. Ji-na felt annoyed after hearing that and didn't understand why Hana said that. The two almost got into a fight. Luckily someone was there to stop them. Hana then angrily packed her suitcase and left first. Hyung-tak quickly chased after Hana and asked her if she liked Sung-min. If she liked him, she shouldn't be so angry. She should wait for the right time. He was like that too. The next day, Hana and Ji-na had a practice session together. Due to the situation, the management company required trainees to pay money to continue practicing. Their payment level depended on their level. The better the person, the less money they have to pay. Hana was called first because of her poor performance. Hana had to pay 10 million won to the company. Ji-na objected when she saw this. It was unreasonable to force trainees to pay more money, which was not in the contract. Above all, Ji-na wanted to protect Hana and questioned the injustice justice in the hierarchy. Jina pulled Hannah's hand away from this blood-sucking place, but Hannah pushed Jina's hand away. Jina felt extremely frustrated when she saw her kindness being fed to the dogs. Right now, she needed someone to confide in. The first person Jina thought of was Sungmin. She went to Sungmin to confide in him. He comforted her and told her that everything would be fine. He promised to stay by her side until everything was fine. Jina then went to see her long-meet sister, Do-joon. The two confided in each other. Do-joon mentioned Jina's boyfriend and asked why she didn't bring him to meet. When mentioning Sungmin, Jina's eyes lit up like stars. She didn't hesitate to say that she and Sungmin were just dating on a contract. But recently she really liked him. Do-joon choked on his water after hearing that. It had been a long time since Do-joon had heard the younger sister say she liked someone, so Do-joon was a bit shocked. The next day, Jina posted the video Sungmin had filmed of her earlier on social media. As expected, the video quickly went viral. Sungmin was happy to see Jina happy. He felt very happy when his video was well received. Being happy was mainly helping with studying. Sungmin was about to study when he accidentally dropped his pen. Sungmin bent down to pick it up. Jina saw that and bent down too, but not to pick up the pen but to hold Sungmin's hand. Sungmin was startled when Jina held his hand. The first time he held Jina's hand, he felt reluctant to let go. In order to avoid letting go of Jina, Sungmin wrote with his left hand. Jina saw that and burst out laughing, wanting to let go of his hand, but he refused. In a flash, the end of the contract was near. Hannah ran to find Sungmin and asked him to date her. Sungmin of course refused. Even if the contract expired, his heart would never change. Hannah was furious when she heard that because of jealousy. Hannah wondered what Jina had that was better than her, that everyone loved Jina. At that moment, Jina appeared. Jina was helpless against Hannah. Jina warned Hannah not to touch her boyfriend and then dragged Sungmin away. The next day, Jina went to school and suddenly felt a different atmosphere. Everyone's eyes looking at Jina changed from admiration to hatred. It turned out that Jina's love contract with Sungmin had been leaked. Everyone thought Jina was a scammer. This news quickly reached Sungmin. After Baoyui found out, he immediately knelt down and apologized to Sungmin. It turned out that yesterday, while looking for a charger in Sungmin's bag, Baoyui accidentally found the contract. Out of curiosity, he took it out. Even so, Baoyui swore that he was not the one who leaked it. Sungmin did not blame Baoyui. He ran to find Jina but bumped into Hannah. Hannah said that Jina was currently very angry because he lost the contract and would not agree to meet him. Sungmin believed it was true, so he returned. The rumor spread more and more. Everyone outside turned their backs on Jina, saying she was two-faced. Some malicious people even printed out the contract and spread it all over the school. Jina ran to Baoyui's club to find Sungmin, but he was not there. On the contrary, Jina discovered that her contract had been stolen there. Jina immediately ran to find Hannah and asked if she was the one who stole the contract and posted it on social media. Hannah didn't deny it anymore. She admitted it freely. She wanted Jina to lose everything. She had been jealous of Jina since the first time they met. Hannah was jealous when she saw Jina shine. Jina felt disappointed that her kindness was misplaced. She treated Hannah with all her heart, but now she received betrayal. At this time, Sungmin's voice rang out from the loudspeaker. He admitted to the love contract with Jina. He originally didn't want to carry out the contract because he wanted to date Jina based on love, not a contract. On the contract, he put Jina's party A and he as party B because party B was usually weak like him. He would be weaker in front of her. He liked her a lot. The love contract turned into a touching secret love story through Sungmin's confession. Everyone's attitude changed after hearing Sungmin's confession. Before he could be cool for 5 seconds, Sungmin was embarrassed by the supervisor for using school equipment for personal purposes. Even though he was snapped, he smiled and happily waved goodbye to Jina. Jina later read Sungmin's message on the note and burst into tears. He used his own way to protect her. The rumors gradually died down. Everyone turned to support their relationship. Hannah has not been seen at school since that incident. Jina saw that and went to the old company to see Hannah. She said to make up because they were friends. She thought Hannah would agree right away. Hannah told Jina that after the contract ended, she couldn't have dated Sungmin again. This is just friends. How can they be called friends? Jina returned home and looked at the old photos of the three of them and reminisced. The next morning was also the last day of the love contract. Early in the morning, Jina pulled Sungmin truancy to go on a date. The two of dated all day like that. Sungmin felt the feeling of truancy for the first time, so he was very excited. In contrast to Sungmin, Jina seemed very thoughtful. She was standing between the two choices of friendship or love. The day was over. Sungmin had been waiting for this moment for a long time. He had already prepared an official confession to Jina, but when he reached out, he only received a thank you from her. Jina then also cut off her relationship with Hannah. Sungmin and Jina disappeared from each other's lives just like that. But that disappearance didn't last a day. Both of them woke up and realized that they really needed each other. They met again on the old road. This time, they vowed not to miss each other again. The next day, Sungmin solemnly asked Baiyuan to call Jina to the rooftop. This time he specially prepared a love contract with a term of up to a lifetime. Jina saw that and signed it. But Sungmin said she signed it in the wrong place. After saying that, he went up to kiss her on the lips. This is the way he wanted to sign a contract. The movie ends here. Click like and subscribe to the channel to wait for the latest video. Goodbye and see you again.